Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Let's get a big round of applause for being here, right? Yes. For those of you I haven't met yet, I am Jessica Pena. I'm Flushing Town Hall's development director. And so I am especially grateful for everyone just showing up, being here, buying tickets. We can't thank you enough. So today's Common Ground mini global mashup is going to be India meets Egypt. It's been, yes, we're very excited. It's been curated by Frank London of the Klezmatics. And the program features Falu and Samia Bouchumez. Yes, another round of applause. Let's just keep it coming. And they're joined by musicians Wyclef Jean and Sandeep. So we're in for a big treat. I love the applause. I haven't heard it in so long. So we have a few things to touch on before we get started, but I'll be as brief as I can. I'd like to start off by acknowledging that we are on the traditional land of the Matinecock people, one of the original tribes of New York and the first people of Flushing, Queens, who continue to work on this land today. And we honor their elders who have stewarded this land throughout generations. So that's number one. Number two, most of you know Flushing Town Hall's mission is to bring people together through global arts, literally. So today's program is a prime example of just that. And we want to thank some of our major funders for enabling us to do so. The National Endowment for the Arts, the New York State Council on the Arts with support of the Governor Hochul and the New York State Legislature, New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, the City Council, the Howard Gilman Foundation, the Booth Ferris Foundation, the Guru Krupa Foundation, and the Fan Fox and Leslie R. Samuels Foundation. So a big round of applause for them. I also just wanted to touch on the date. Today is March 13th, and it's actually exactly 2 years from the date that New York City was officially shut down from COVID. So, you know, we're just all so grateful and really lucky to be here today, and Flushing Town Hall just can't thank our patrons and our funders and our artists and our staff and our board of directors enough for just getting us through these 2 years, so thank you. And looking forward, it's actually a big birthday for us. Calendar year 2022 is Flushing Town Hall's 160th birthday. So we're really, really excited. We're doing a lot of events, starting with our gala in June, on June 9th, to celebrate. We'll be doing a lot of fundraising. We do need to raise money for the actual building. A lot of people don't know that we are charged with actually securing and maintaining this beautiful building, so stay tuned for programs and fundraising on that. Finally, there'll be a Q&A after the show today, so just sit tight after the third music session, and we'll do a really short Q&A. Think of questions if you have any. And now, please join me in welcoming Sammy Abu-Shamais.
Hey, everybody. I'm here in two capacities today, so it's a little bit weird. But right now I'm playing the role of Frank London, who couldn't be here today, to introduce the first set of music. It's a real pleasure and honor for me because Falu and Gaurav are dear friends of mine. We've been friends for probably 18 years, since 2004, since they came down to New York. And I've had the good fortune to play with them a number of times. And Falu is very well known, so you can look up her bio. I'm not going to repeat the statistics, Grammy nominee and so on and so forth, and top Indian whatever. You can look it up. What I want to say is that aside from being astonishing musicians, and some of the best musicians I've ever had the good fortune to work with, Falu is incredibly generous to work with. She's very lovely at uplifting the people that she works with, helping everyone to be better, and really is a very warm person who gives a lot to both musicians and audiences. So that's sort of my personal take. I'm going to be jamming with them in the third set, and I'm going to be doing a solo set next. So anyway, I'm going to stop being deputy director for a minute. Please welcome Falu, Gaurav, and Sandeep.
Hello, friends. It's been a long time. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you to Flushing Town Hall. It's always such a pleasure to perform in this venue. It's a beautiful venue from the outside. It looks out of place, but also in place with all the history of New York City and Queens. Just a beautiful structure that emerges out of New York City. So thank you for having us. This venue, this hall feels special, warm, and I think the diversity of ideas and languages and cultures here in Queens is not that different from the diversity of cultures and languages and dresses in India itself. And we hope to explore a couple of different styles of music in the next 20 minutes or so. The first two songs, actually before I start, this band is called Karishma. And we started in 1990-something at a train station in Boston when Sandeep and I ran into one another. And today the trains weren't working out of New Jersey, so we had to take an Uber. But the theme continues. It's journey, it's travel, it's exploring life, exploring good things, and exploring tough things like we all have in the last year or two.
We're always late.
And we're always late, yes. This is the story of Karishma. Falu joined the band in the late 90s, around 2000, 2001 or so, and we have another guy named Shoma who's not here today, but maybe soon. So this is sort of a reunion initiation for us. I can't tell how many Hindi speakers there are. I don't assume you don't speak Hindi just because you don't look like you don't. You might. But the first two songs here are going to be called Ghazal. Ghazal is a Sufi poem, a type of Sufi poetry in which people the writers are exploring the link between the spiritual and the secular. And every line can be interpreted in one or two different ways depending on which vision you have of reality. Are you seeing the world through the lens of earthly love or through the lens of divine love? And we'll go through some of these. So the first two are ghazals, the second two will be folk songs, and then we'll have the Egyptian section. The first song is called Bhuli. Bhuli means forgotten. Bhuli bisri chand umede, chand fasane yaad aaye. Means forgotten, forlorn, so many.
Few.
Bhuli bisri chand, yes. A few
Desires.
hopes. Yeah, forgotten, forlorn, a few hopes. Chand fasane yaad aaye. And a few episodes from my memory crop up. Tum yaad aaye aur tumhare saath zamane yaad aaye means, and one of those thoughts, one of those memories was you. And along with you, this whole flood of emotions and thoughts came out. It was a zamana, a whole era emerged. So he's talking about a few moments and hopes that he has, and he thought of you. And a whole past era opened up again and will shape his future. It's very abstract, but it's about love. It's about the power that the memory of a single person can evoke to change your life.
दिल का नगर
जैसे खाक सी उड़ती थी, जैसे खाक सी उड़ती थी, कैसे ज़माने ऐ गम दौरा, कैसे ज़माने ऐ गम दौरा, तेरे फसाने याद आए, तेरे फसाने याद आए, तुम याद आए और तुम्हारे साथ ज़माने याद आए, साथ ज़माने याद आए, भूली बिसरी चंद उम्मीदें।
Thank you.
A lot of these ghazals and modern songs are shaped from old classical ragas. Ragas are melodic scales that are associated with a particular time of the day in a particular mood. And this raga was one called Gaud Malhar, a sweet Malhar. I have memories in college listening to one of our teachers, one of Falu's teachers, Kishori Monkar, sing Gaud Malhar, and it brings me back to the song itself, Bhuli Bisri Chandu Umide. C sharp. So this next ghazal is simpler, and it's actually a love song. And I pulled up the translation here so that you don't blame me for the cheesy translation, but the Hindi words sometimes aren't reflected in the English translation, just like if you translated English into Hindi, it would probably be lost, right? The nuances. This song is called Zindagi. Zindagi jab bhi teri bazm mein lati hai hame, ye zami chand se behtar nazar aati hai hame. Thank you. Va, by the way, means whoa, or
No,
cool,
awesome.
or nice.
Va means awesome.
Well, va means, I mean, if you say it twice, it's even.
Yeah, and Kabat.
Gyabat means I have no words. So you hear some folks here who might be Hindi speaking, say vava or gyabat. I never hear it from the stage for some reason, because I guess they're more critical. But that's all right. Yeah. So I'm going to translate this exactly. I'm reading from filmyquotes.com. Whenever life ushers me into your company, this earth seems better to me than the moon itself.
Oh, nice.
Basm also means bosom.
Right. Our teacher, his name was Sultan Khan. He actually came to Sammy's wedding about 10 years ago. Sultan Khan was the greatest sarangi player on the earth ever, I think. And this is a song that he played in a movie called Umrao Jan about 50 years ago. Zindagi jab bhi तेरी बज़्म में लाती है हमें, जिंदगी जब भी तेरी बज़्म में लाती है हमें, ये ज़मीन चांद से बेहतर नजर आती है हमें, ये ज़मीन चांद से बेहतर नजर आती है हमें जिंदगी जब भी तेरी बज़्म में लाती है हमें। सुर्ख फूलों से महक उठती है दिल की राहें। सुर्ख फूलों से महक उठती है दिल की राहें। दिन ढले यूं तेरी आवाज बुलाती है हमें। दिन ढले यूं तेरी आवाज बुलाती है हमें। जिंदगी जब हर मुलाकात का अंजाम जुदाई क्यों है। हर मुलाकात का अंजाम जुदाई क्यों है। अब तो हर वक्त यही बात सताती है हमें। अब तो हर वक्त यही बात सताती है हमें। जिंदगी जब भी तेरी बज़्म में लाती है हमें। ये ज़मीं चाँद से बेहतर नजर आती है हमें। जिंदगी जब भी तेरी बज़्म में लाती है हमें। So we switch to the folk traditions of India, and India has a kaleidoscopic array of cultures and languages. And if you move from Gujarat to Rajasthan to Madhya Pradesh to Orissa, and you can take a loop many ways, counterclockwise, clockwise, but it's like you've gone to a different country. It's like all of Europe in one subcontinent. Many different cultures and languages that some of them whom are related and some are not. So this is a state called Uttar Pradesh. And it celebrates a festival called Holi. It's a festival of color that pervades all of India and ties all of India's states, languages, religions, seasons, and moods together in one celebration that usually starts at the beginning of spring. So on this icy day, we welcome in the spring through Holi.
I'm hoping the spring comes faster. Can we have some house lights for this song? Because if people want to dance and have a part of the culture, we are inviting everybody. You can come ahead and dance. It's a very fun audience invitation and a beautiful spring welcoming song. So the joy and spirit is something we can all cherish. 1, 2, 3. होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा हो होरी खेले रघुबीरा
अवध में होरी खेले रघुवीरा
हो होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा किकरा हाथे कनक पिचकारी
किकरा हाथे कनक पिचकारी
किकरा हाथे अबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा रामा के हाथे कनक पिचकारी
रामा के हाथे कनक पिचकारी
सीता के हाथे अबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा ओ होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा किकराहट पट दफ सोहत है
किकराहट पट दफ सोहत है
किकरा हाथे नजीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुवीरा रामा के हाथे डफ सोहत है
रामा के हाथे डफ सोहत है
सीता के हाथे मजीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुवीरा होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा अवध में होरी खेले रघुबीरा
We move further west into a region called Sindh, and this is the ultimate celebration of bringing together the secular and the divine. It's a song that's very, very popular in much of India, and this will be the end of the Indian section, and we'll come back after this.
And this song is in a language called Sindhi. Yay! As a South Asian singer growing up in India, you're obviously required to learn more than one language, right? Language of your birth, mother tongue, English, the state you live in my case, Marathi. Hindi is the national language, you have to learn it. One comes in your school, so I had Sanskrit. So 5-6 languages is common. And I'm so proud because now I can sing in so many languages, and I love it. Oh, लाल मेरी oh, लाल मेरी लाल मेरी लाल मेरी ओ लाल मेरी पत रखियो भला झोले लालण सिंतड़ीता से बढ़ता सखी शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम में अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम में अंदर ओ लाल मेरी ओ लाल मेरी
चार चराग तेरे बरन हमेशा चार चराग तेरे बरन हमेशा पंजवा में बारण आई भला झूले लालण सिंदड़ी दा सेवण दास की शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम बे अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम बे अंदर ओ लाल मेरी ओ लाल मेरी हिंद शिंद पीड़ा तेरी नौबत बाजे हिंद शिंद पीड़ा तेरी नौबत बाजे नाम अली भेड़ा पार लगा झूले लालण नाम अली नाम अली बेड़ा बेड़ा नाम वाली बेड़ा पार लगा झूले लालण सिंदड़ी दा से फणदा सखी शाबाश कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम में अंदर 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 दमादम 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 दम 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 Thank you. Thank you. We'll be back. Talk soon.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to perform at this lovely theater. So I'm going to do a sampling of a couple different things from Egypt, a couple instrumental pieces, and a couple songs. First piece I'm going to play is actually an instrumental piece composed by the great late 20th century Egyptian violinist Abdou Daguer, who passed away last year. And my own teacher from Egypt also passed away last year, and I really spent a lot of time learning this piece with him whenever that was, like 20 years ago, 21 years ago, when I went and studied music in Egypt. So this piece, Samai Kurd, by the Egyptian violinist Abdou Daguer, is dedicated to him and to my teacher, Alfred Gamil. So for those of you who don't know much about Arabic music, which I'm assuming is a lot of you, the violin is actually one of the most popular instruments in Arabic music, and it has been used in Arabic music since the late 19th century. And by the early 20th century, it became one of the main instruments in the urban ensembles of places like Cairo and other cities in the Arab world. So it's a very common instrument, just like in Indian music, you'll hear a lot of it. Another theme of today's program is actually film music, and the next song I'm going to do is from an Egyptian movie from the 1950s, starring the great vocalist Abdul Halim Hafiz. I'm going to do a song called Zalamu. Zalamu, they were unfair to him, and the him in this case is the heart. So the song is about, I never thought about love before, but they entranced me and then let me down. So it's a song about, falling in love and then being dropped, kind of like that. So Zalamu from Abdul Halim Hafiz. ظلموا القلب الخالي ظلموا قبلوا شبكوا وارتاحوا لما شغلوا عدو يزوروا نهار ما افتكروا يهنوا نسيوا فتوا أتريهم قبل ما ينسوا ظلموا طول عمري قلبي خالي ويخاف من الغرام من كل رمش جرح في نظرة وابتسام كانت العيون تقابله وتلمح بالكلام يهرب من قبل حتى ما يرد لهم سلام حد عينك مبلوني نسيت روحي وتاه عقلي طال الشوق وظلموني وتار القلب هو ظلموا القلب الخالي ظلموا قبلوا شبكوا وارتاحوا لما شغلوا عدو يزوروا نهار ما افتكروا ينوا نسيوا فتوا وتريهم قبل ما ينسوا ظلموا الطبيب يداوي سألني الجرح فين قلت اسأل دقي قلب اللي زايد دقيتين جبت الطبيب يداوي سألني الجرح فين قلت اسأل دقي قلب اللي زايد دقيتين سمع في القلب حاجة وقال دار مش عين صاحبه رماه ناسي
بقاله جمعتين سمع في القلب حاجة وقال ده رمش عين صاحبه رماه ناسي بقاله جمعتين حد عينك ما قبلوني نسيت روحي وتاه عقلي وطال الشوق ظلموني وتار القلب هو اللي ظلموا القلب الخالي ظلموا قبلوا شبكوا وارتاحوا لما شغلوا وعدوا يزوروا نهار ما افتكروا يهنوا نسيوا فاتوا تاريهم قبل ما ينسوا ظلموا أنا اللي سحري دايما كنت أهرب من عيني وأنا اللي قلبي عمره ما حد جرى عليه أنا اللي سحري دايما كنت أهرب من عيني وأنا اللي قلبي عمره ما حد جرى عليه ازاي حبيتك انت وحبيتك انت ليه احتار القلب يسأل واحترت اقوله ايه ازاي حبيتك انت وحبيتك انت ليه احتار القلب يسأل واحترت اقوله ايه حد عينك ما قبلوني نسيت روحي وتاه عقلي حد عينك ما قبلوني نسيت روحي وتاه عقلي وطال الشوق ظلموني وتار القلب ظلموا القلب الخالي ظلموا قبلوا شبكوا وارتاحوا لما شغلوا وعدوا يزوروا النهار ما افتكروا ينوا نسيوا فاتوا وتاريهم قبل ما ينسوا ظلموا
I'm going to do another instrumental from you, for you, whatever. This one is from a 1960 Egyptian film, and any of you heard of belly dance? Maybe. So belly dance is taken from the Middle East, and especially from indigenous dance forms in Egypt, which are called raqs sharqi. And belly dance or raqs sharqi was very popular in Egyptian films from the 1940s through the 1970s. And this is a song, less well known, but quite beautiful instrumental number for a belly dancer from a film from 1960.
could imagine the belly dancer there, twirling around. So I'm fitzing, whatever you call it, with my microphone because I'm about to play a different instrument for you. So the violin, as I said, has been played in Arabic music for about 150 years, but the violin comes from Middle Eastern instruments. So the violin is derived from the viol family, which was derived from the rebec family. The rebec family was essentially the renamed version of the rabab from the Arab world, brought to Europe in the 13th century, roughly speaking. So this is the modern version of the Egyptian rababa. It's a spike fiddle. Spike because you have that spike at the end. Hopefully I won't kill myself with it. And it's a coconut shell with fish skin, a very special fish skin from the Red Sea. And this one's a little bit wonky because it only has one string. Usually they have two strings. The string is actually made of the same hair as the bow, horsehair, so it has an interesting sound. I'm going to play a little bit for you. Good. Okay, there we go. So this instrument is used in folk music in Egypt now. So in Egypt, you have urban music in the cities, which I've been playing examples of, both in urban context as well as in the film music. But in rural music, in what's called the Said means Upper Egypt, which is actually south along the Nile, because the Nile runs south to north. So among the people who live there, this is a popular instrument, rababa. I'm going to improvise on it a little bit for you, and then play a song, a popular song from a late 20th century very famous rababa player and singer named Metgal Ganawi. So here's the rababa. Similar to the violin, a little different. Ya ning ning ya ning ning ya ning ning ya ning ning ya ning ning. Ya ning ning ya ning ning ya ning ning ya ning ning
لك عطشان يا ود عمي حبك يرويني ميل وسقيني يا ود عمي ميل وسقيني انا لك عطشان يا ود عمي حبك يرويني يا ودي يا ودي يا ودي يا وانا من صغر سني وانا في الهوى ولا يا ودي يا ودي يا ودي يا وانا من صغر سني وانا في الهوى انا العليل وانت الدواء يا ودي يا ودي يا ودي يا وانا اللي جمالك عجب عجب يا محلى خلخالك جمال وعقل وادب وادب يا مشرف ادخالي ياللي جمالك عجب عجب يا محلى خلخالي جمال وعقل وادب وادب يا مشرف ادخالي عالدلال يا ابو كحل بلدي عالدلال عالدلال.
So please welcome back Falu and her musicians to the stage.
While we're
My
setting
pillows
up,
match my dress.
while we're setting up, you're welcome to stand up and stretch for a second. We had a break. You deserve one too.
I have your C sharp again?
Nice.
C sharp?
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. So, okay. Which do you want to start with? You want to start with that one? And then we'll do. Okay.
How's everyone doing? Thank you for coming on such a cold day.
मज़ारे कैस पर जब रूह लैला एक दिन आई।
You heard some of the most haunting notes ever created from Sammy in the last 20 minutes. And the complexity of the melodious, the melodic aspects of Arabic music are, the complexities are sort of at a different level when you look at the definition of numerous notes that are not just not on this harmonium, but are also not in Indian music at all. And in fact, you can see that you can trace North Indian music as a combination of Arabic music, Carnatic music, and now modulated by the harmonies of the West as well. So North Indian classical music is really a fusion of many things. One of the historical influences has been Arabic music. So you can hear Arabic music and Indian music quite a bit, but usually not the other way around, interestingly. And so when he's going to play with us, he's going to limit the number of notes he hits. Indian music
Hopefully.
makes up for this by expanding on the number of ragas, on the combinations of notes. Not the number of notes, but the combinations of notes. And a great Indian musician will know 1,000 different melodic variations called ragas, for example. It's said that there are 33 million, but they also say there's 33 million gods. So yeah, everything is 33 million.
So you're saying you know 33 million ragas?
She might know 1,000. She might know 1,000.
I only know 1,000.
मज़ारे कैस पर जब रूह लैला एक दिन आई तो अरमानों के मुरझाए हुए कुछ फूल भी लाई लगी जब फूल रखने से आवाज ये आई चढ़ाना फूल जाने मन मगर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता
So great to play together again, because I can hear you in my mind, and you don't hear me in yours, but I hear you in mine.
सरकती जाए हैं सरकती 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 जाए हैं रुख से नकाब आहिस्ता सरकती जाए हैं रुख से नकाब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता निकलता रहा है आफताब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता सरकती जाए हैं रुख से नकाब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता
Short translation, Sarakti jai hai rukh se naqab, ahista, ahista. The veil is slipping off my beloved's face, slowly, slowly. Ahista means slowly, but it's also a lilt. There's a dance to it. The veil is slipping off in a very lilt-like fashion. Nikalta aa raha hai aftab. Aftab is also borrowed from Arabic, aftab, which means in Urdu, sun. As the veil lifts, it's as if the sun is starting to shine through. In other words, it's a way of saying that my beloved is beautiful, like the sun. Another translation is that the veil of ignorance is slipping off my soul. And as it comes off in a dance-like fashion, the light of knowledge, the light of spiritual enlightenment is starting to come through. It's not true for me, but it's true for whoever wrote this.
हमारे और तुम्हारे प्यार में बस फर्क है इतना, हमारे और तुम्हारे प्यार में बस फर्क है इतना। इधर तो जल्दी जल्दी है, उधर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता। इधर तो जल्दी जल्दी है, उधर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता। शबे फुरकत का जागा हूँ, फरिश्तों अब तो सोने दो। शबे फुरकत का जागा हूँ, फरिश्तों अब तो सो।
Soने do. He's saying that I've been waiting here for 2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks, 14 days. Shabe Furkat, 14 days. I've been awake, and the angels of heaven, please let me go to sleep. He's tired of waiting for the beloved or the enlightenment to come. Let me sleep now. Sone do. Let me sleep.
शबे फुरकत का जागा हूँ, फरिश्तों अब तो सोने दो सोने दो सोने दो
क्या बात है?
सोने दो 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 सोने सोने दो सोने दो सोने दो। शबे फुरकत का जागा हूँ, फरिश्तों अब तो सोने दो। कभी फुर्सत में कर लेना हिसाब, आहिस्ता आहिस्ता निकलता रहा है आफताब, आहिस्ता आहिस्ता सरकती जाए रुख से नकाब, आहिस्ता 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 आहिस्ता।
The fun game we used to play on stage, he used to play many years ago, is changes up the rhythm and changes where the one beat lands to confuse me, but you can't, see, I've gotten better, right? Took 30 years to learn music sometimes, and even then, music is like an ocean. You learn a little bit, and you realize how much left there is to learn.
Yeah.
It's so true of, you listen to all the notes in Arabic music, we are just learning notes. Just at the beginning, always at the beginning. You have yet to start someday.
I'm
The
still
next-
looking for that one note.
The next thing we're going to do is a great example of fusion that pre-exists this concert. So in 1935, again, we're back to the film industry. In 1935, one of the greatest stars of Egypt, probably the greatest star of the Arab world in the 20th century, Kulthum, sang a song called Ala Balad al-Mahbub, so from 1935. In 1951, Lata Mangeshkar, the most famous singer in India, covered this song in an Indian film. So there are some differences between the two versions, but we're going to do kind of a mashup of the two versions, the Arabic version and the Indian version.
We basically copied.
There is a note that we use in our version that you guys don't have.
We can't. I couldn't. I don't even hear
But
your notes.
It's okay. We'll
We
do our
only
best.
have 22 notes with 10 microtones. They have 44. So I'm just looking.
And also, Lata Mangeshkar, as some of you know, passed away
Recently.
About a month ago, so it's a tribute to Lata.
على بلد المحبوب واديني زاد وجدي والبعد كواني على بلد المحبوب واديني زاد وجدي والبعد كواني
घर आया मेरा परदेसी प्यास बुझी मेरी अखियन की घर आया मेरा परदेसी प्यास बुझी मेरी अखियन की
يا حبيبي ده انا قلبي معاك طول ليلي سهران وياك يا حبيبي ده انا قلبي معاك طول ليلي سهران وياك تتمنى عيني رؤياك اشكي لك وانت تواسيني
घर आया मेरा परदेसी आस बुझी मेरी अखियन की तू मेरे मन का मोती है इन नैनन की ज्योति है याद है मेरे बचपन की घर आया मेरा परदेसी
يا هنايا لما افرح بيك واتهنى في قربك واناديك يا هنايا لما افرح بيك
प्यास बुझी मेरी अखियन की
بلد المحبوب واديني زاد وجدي والبعد
Thank you. There was so much cultural exchange going before the internet. In 35, made it to India in 51, made it to America in 2021. So here we go. Music has no boundaries.
Rajain? So we're going to do another Arabic tune for our third number. This is one that I have to admit Falu learned before me. This is actually not from Egypt, it's from Lebanon. It's a classic by the singer Fairuz, Rajain Ya Hawa. And the song here, actually we didn't talk about the lyrics for the last one. I know you love to talk about lyrics. The Arabic version of the previous one, Ala Balad al-Mahbub, is Take Me to the Beloved Country. And it's singing about how I miss I miss this land and etc. What was the lyrics of the Indian one?
I think Sandeep's going to say the lyrics for this.
Actually, it's very similar.
Just say it.
No, it's exact opposite, right?
Yeah, my beloved has come back from the other country. That's what the lyric is. Ghar aaya pardesi.
Oh, very interesting.
Well, the guy came from Arab, came to India.
Interesting,
So-
very interesting. So anyway, so the next one we're going to do, this one called Rajain Ya Hawa, is about returning to love. So I guess there's a lot of travel back and forth. I guess that's the theme of the day. So returning to love, and we think we're going away from it, but we always end up coming back at the door of love, to the fire of love. So it's a lovely song.
I actually meant to ask you, this song that I'm going to sing, what language is this in?
It's in Arabic.
Arabic, oh.
And Falu learned it in Arabic, so.
Yeah, it's my first Arabic song. Seven. رجعين يا هوا رجعين يا زهرة البساتين رجعين يا هوا على دار الهوى على نار الهوى رجعين
من ودع زمان من روح لزمان ينسانا على أرض النسيان من ودع زمان نروح لزمان ينسانا على أرض النسيان منقول رايحين منكون راجعين على دار الحب ومش عارفين منقول رايحين منكون راجعين على دار الحب ومش عارفين
رجعين يا هوا رجعين يا زهرة البساتين رجعين يا هوا على دار الهوى على نار الهوى رجعين
مغرور يا هوى يا هوى مغرور يا حبيبي يا وردي على سور مغرور يا هوى يا هوى مغرور يا حبيبي يا ولدي على سوق نحن العاشقين على طول عاشقين وانتو بليالينا عايشين نحن العاشقين على طول عاشقين وانتو بليالينا عايشين
رجعين يا هوا رجعين يا سرة البساتين رجعين يا هوا على دار الهوى على نار الهوى
رجعين.
My brother Sam Yabushumes.
So we will finish our exploration of Indo-Arabic fusion or Arabic-Indian fusion with a folk song that straddles both regions, North India, through Pakistan, through the Middle East. And this style of music, Sandeep can talk about it, the rhythm originates in a land that used to be covered by the Indus Valley civilization many thousands of years ago. And it's an ancient rhythm. It doesn't exist anymore. But these singers used to call out across the fields and sing long notes to a very special rhythm that you can't quite quantize. There's a feel to it.
Yeah. So it's a 6/8 feel. You know this?
Like,
Right? That'd be too easy. So the folk. So that was a 6/8 feel. I can't. Okay. Sorry. Right? The folk rhythm starts getting lopsided.
nice.
It slows down.
I think the more and more I explored American music, I felt Brazilian music has this push and pull of micro rhythms and beats that we also had and we inherited 3,000-4,000 years ago from our ancestors in India. So even then, the worlds were connected. Even now, we're all connected.
अत्र तत्र सर्वत्र करे शुभ गौरी पुत्र गणेश हे दूदाड़ो भीड़ भाजड़ो ने समरो श्री प्रथमेश हे समरो श्री प्रथमेश खंबे धरियो खेश आंखें आजिमेश पीतांबरो वेश धरी रमे कृष्ण कन्हैयो बादी झांझी अने पखवाज त्रासा खासा बंसी ना नादे नाचे नंदनो छैयो हे के रंग लो रंग लो जाम्यो कालिंदड़ी ने घाट चौगाड़ा तारा ओरे छबीला तारा ओरे रंगीला तारा रंग भेरू जुए तारी वाट रंग लो
हे के रंग लो जाम्यो कालिंदड़ी ने घाट चौगाड़ा तारा ओरे छबीला तारा ओरे रंगीला तारा रंग भेरू जुए तारी वाट रंग लो
तारे हाथों तो काम बघ्या मेला हेटा हे तने हे तने हे तने तने हे तने कने तने वडशे तारी जशोदा वाचो गाडा तारा ओरे छबीला तारा ओरे रंगीला तारा रंग भेरू जुए तारी वाट रंग लो
हे के रंग लो जाम्यो कालिंगड़ी में घाचो गाडा तारा ओरे छबीला तारा ओरे रंगीला तारा रंग भेरू जुए तारे वाट रंग लो हलो मारा पालव नो छेड़ लो मेल जुगाड़ा छेल के मन मारू धड़के छे मारा पालव नो छेड़ लो मेल जुगाड़ा छेल के मन मारू धड़के छे तू मोर लो ने हूँ तो तारी ढेल तू मोर लो ढेल के मन मारू धड़के छे तू मोर लो ने हूँ तो ढेल तू मोर लो ढेल के मन मारू धड़के छे हल्ला जी तारा हल्ला जी तारा हल्ला जी तारा हाथ वखाणू के पाछी तारा पगला वखाणू हल्ला जी तारा हाथ वखाणू के पाछी तारा पगला वखाणू रिद्धि दे सिद्धि दे अष्ट नव निधि दे रिद्धि दे सिद्धि दे अष्ट नव निधि दे वंश में वृद्धि दे भगवानी हरे हृदय में ध्यान दे चित्त में ध्यान दे अभय वरदान दे शंभु रानी अरे दुख को दूर कर सुख भरपूर कर अरे दुख को दूर कर सुख भरपूर कर आशा संपूर्ण कर दस जानी अरे सजन सोहित दे कुटुंब में प्रीत दे जंग में जीत दे माँ भवानी जी रे जंग में जीत दे माँ भवानी जी रे जंग में जीत दे माँ भवानी हल्ला जी तारा हल्ला जी तारा हल्ला जी तारा हाथ वखाणू के पछी तारा पगला वखाणू के पछी तारा पगला वखाणू के पछी तारा पगला वखाणू
Thank you so much. Thank you, each one of you, for coming today, spending this wonderful Sunday afternoon with us, and being a part of our cultures and sharing the love with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
So I think we're going to do a Q&A for about 10 or 15 minutes. Steve, can you put the house lights on a little bit so we can see the... No. Is it green? Is the light is it green? It is not green. Here, push the button and hold it. There you go. It should be, yeah.
Hello?
There you go.
There we are. Okay. So that was astonishing. Thank you so much. We're going to do a little bit of just a talk back with me, and then if anyone has questions, we'll turn it to the audience. So just hold tight on that, and I'm going to use my cell phone to pull up my questions. So the first thing I want to start with is the mashup itself. I know that you've played together before, but I would love to hear a little bit about just when you knew you were playing this show, how did that conversation happen, and how did you decide what to play together?
Well, I'll say that first of all, usually when I play with Falu, it's only Indian music. So usually I'm learning their tunes and I'm playing along with them. So this is the first time we've actually done something where we included both Arabic music and Indian music. So the conversation this time was, well, we really need to bring in these tunes that have this cross-Arabic Indian influence to them.
Yes, and you know, Sammy is such a wonderful listener and learner. This is the chance that three of us got to go to the other end and try. I mean, Arabic music is by far the most difficult music. because it has the number of notes are just absolutely something that I don't even understand. So my limitation is I have to at least know that what I don't know, and we have to work with what we both know, right? So he understands my music very easily. For us, we have to know our limitations and work like that. So we picked songs that had microtones, but not the 44s, the only 22s. And we worked from there.
Thank you, that's great. And how much of the jam was planned versus improvised? Was there any part of it where you started improvising?
Well, the thing is that we're always, both Indian and Arabic music is always improvised in the sense that we have compositions, but we're always varying them a little bit and adding our own ornaments, our own decorations, our own way of approaching it. So, I mean, we played 4 songs that are songs, but there's a lot of improvisation within the songs.
Yeah. Improvisation is ingrained in both of these music. So we would not, like we sing a scale, a basic composition, but we never repeat the variation. Feel free to fill in.
I was just going to say that the some of the most fun that we have is surprising the other performers.
Yeah.
You know, and doing something that they didn't think you could do, or saying a word in a different way, or not saying a word, leaving a word out, leaving a note out, and then looking up at the other person. You know, there's this interplay that's always going on. So it's micro improvisations. It's not like it's not as formal as in jazz music, where you have a basic structure, and the melody might sound like nothing like the original structure, right? It's more improvisation. It's also not like Western classical, where even the ornamentations are described previously and written down. Here, it's something in between. You improvise within a structure, but there's a lot of fun. And the fun is not just fun, it's searching for something. It's searching for the one note or the one beat that you know that you've found your moment in life for.
The band is the audience.
And also, while you mentioned jazz, I would really like to give a big round of applause to Catherine Russell, a jazz legendary singer who's sitting here within us. Catherine, thank you for coming. Having you in the audience meant so much to us, and singing for you is just a blessing. So thank you for coming.
So my next question is going back a little bit to your upbringings. I know that all of you at this point, we can say, are experts in what you do. He's shaking his head no, but you are, and I know you're also educators. So
Yeah.
if some of you could just pop in and talk a little bit about your introduction to your music and when it was that you said, you know what, I'm going to do this professionally.
Well, I'll start. My mother is here. She just had a fall this morning, so after this we are going to go to the ER. But she stood up, so I'm okay. My mom is my inspirer. She is the one who led me through the path of music. She herself sings. She has sung with Carnegie Hall with me, and I'm so happy to perform with her. While I'm hoping she's not in much pain. But my mom started singing seeing my talent, that I could sing in pitch at 3 when I was 3 years old, and she started my training. And she was very strict. Like, if there's no practice, there's no food. So then my son tells me, you don't give me food, I call Child Protective Services. I didn't have that in India. If you want food, you better practice, It's a more authoritarian culture. So that's the pillar of my existence, and that's who I sing for, and of course God. But my mother is my... There I go.
Well, yeah, why don't you pick up on that? Because you guys met each other through your education, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true, actually. I took a year off after college to get very serious about learning and studying Indian music. When I showed up in Bombay at his brother's house, who's a friend of mine. Yeah, not you. And he used to sing with Falu, so that's how I met her many, many years ago, and we started learning together. And one of the teachers who we learned from was Ustad Sultan Khan, who came to Sammy's wedding as well. So we spent 6 to 8 hours a day for about 6 months learning together, the two of us.
11.
Sometimes up to 11. And that was, it was for me the first deep dive, I grew up in Texas, by the way. It was the first deep dive into the depths of Indian classical music, and it was life-changing for me.
So I'm similar to Gaurav. Both Gaurav and I are second-generation immigrants, unlike Falu, who grew up in India. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I actually didn't study any Arabic music until my 20s. I grew up studying classical Western music and composition, and then I kind of felt a desire to reconnect to my Arab heritage in my 20s, and then I started studying here, first in New York, with some teachers here, but I felt it wasn't quite enough, so I did something similar to Gaurav. I went and I lived in Egypt for a year, and I studied there, and then I lived in Syria for half a year, and that was, we're talking back in 2001, 2002. Spent a few years studying there, and then that really transformed my relationship to music, that period of study. Initially, I didn't think I was going to be an Arab musician. I thought I was going to be a Western musician and bring in Arabic influence. But once I was immersed in it, I got hooked, and I came back to the States and started really thinking about it, and dropped out of graduate school, and started a band, and yeah, since then I've been doing it professionally, but I also have a day job, obviously, here, those of you who know me as deputy director. But the other thing I'll say is what's been really important for me is because I learned it as an adult, and I learned it as a second musical language. It really impressed on me some of the challenges of learning music. So I've been very interested as a teacher and as a pedagogue of the music, and tried to find ways of communicating it to Westerners, because there are a lot of people who want to learn Arabic music who are in the same boat that I was in 25 years ago when I started learning this. So I really love to teach for that reason.
For those who don't know, Sammy is an authority, not authoritative, not authoritarian.
That's her mom.
Right. An authority on Arabic music. He's recently published, he and our friend Johnny Faraj have published the textbook on Arabic classical music. And likewise, actually, since you're picking people from the audience, I'll pick one of our friends here, Tyler, who's here, I see. Raise your hand. He's written one of the definitive texts on ethnomusicology, especially with an Indian music influence. So you guys should talk at some point.
Marlon's here too. He's also an ethnomusicologist. We
really?
have great audience today. Marlon!
Oh, there he is.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
That's great. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? I don't want to run out of time without giving everyone the opportunity in the audience. Any questions for anyone up here? And I know we have a virtual audience too, so if any questions come in, I'll get it on my phone, which is wonderful.
Question over there.
Oh, great.
First of all, this music is life-changing for me. I can't believe it. I can't believe what I'm hearing. It's just beautiful. And the collaboration is just gorgeous. So in the Arabic songs that you sang, were you using more of the, you said 22 notes scale in Indian music, and how many, 40?
44.
Well, it's a little bit, it's not quite
Okay.
a fixed number like that. We have way more than that, actually.
Oh my
More than
God,
that.
more than 44. Okay.
So in those, I'm sorry, in the songs that you sang, were you using more
Yes.
of the,
And I'll give you an example from the song that we did together, because this is what we call microtones in the West. But frankly, some of these notes are the same notes that are in the blues that people quote called blue notes, but because people didn't understand it, it got erased. There's a little bit of erasure that happened There's some erasure that happens in the Arab world too as people move towards equal-tempered instruments. But we have a wide variety of notes. And the song that we did together, let's see if you guys can hear. So in the song that we did together, this note is in between two notes of the Western scale. على بلد محبوب واديني زاد. This note زاد وجدي والبعد كويني. Falu is singing it. And I'm singing it. So we had to sort of navigate that a little bit because when this song was translated from Egyptian and then was covered in India, they don't have that note. So it kind of became flattened out. But yeah, in the songs that I was singing, almost all of them had some of these quote-unquote microtone notes. Sometimes people call them quarter tones, but they're not exactly a quarter. They're not exactly between. They're different for each one. And they change over time, kind of like an accent. So it's kind of complex. But read my book, Inside Arabic Music.
Good plug, Sammy. Any other questions? There we are. I'll come that way, actually. It's easier. Good thing my heels are easy to run in today.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I just wanted to thank you so much for the people working here at Flushing Hall. It's my first time here, and I'm listening to this great music here. I'm just it's not in question, I just want to add something onto it. Basically, I'm here with my friend who is a poet as well. His name is Hassan Mustafa, and we are from Pakistan. And just to let all the American friends know here that in 1947, we moved away from each other, India and Pakistan, but we never moved away from music and the movies and all of those. So I just want to tell you, everybody, that as Falu just mentioned, that music has no boundaries. So that's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We love that.
Yeah, I think it's worth emphasizing that point. And at Flushing Town Hall, some of the mashups we've done have been from very distantly related or not related music traditions. Whereas what we're doing today is there's been influence for hundreds and thousands of years from sort of Central Asia, the Mediterranean, and our music has really influenced each other a lot, and it's sort of like the modern politics sort of makes it seem like these places are very different, but certainly they feed each other and people travel back and forth, and you can hear some similarity in the rhythms and in the modes and in some of the melodic context. So it's worth emphasizing that even though we present these music as fusion, that each music itself is a fusion of a lot of heritage. Yeah. When I talk about Egyptian music, there's 5,000 years of history, but how many people have conquered Egypt? You had the ancient Egyptians, but you have Romans, Jews, Assyrians, Greeks, and eventually, the Turks come in, the Ottomans come in, the Mongols come in, and then eventually the Europeans come in. We have, all of these layers of influence. So it's already a fused music that, I'm sure something similar is taking place in India. We have many layers, thousands of years of civilization.
Yeah, I think I'm so glad that you shared your insights with us, because the first ghazal was from Mehdi Hasan Khan Sahab, right? The greatest Pakistani ghazal singer, and he has more fans in India than anywhere else in the world. It's amazing.
Politicians can separate us, but music will
Music always
not.
combines. Yeah, Jagjit Singh. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This instrument came from Afghanistan to India. India didn't have it.
Yeah.
So, it's good for me.
It's such a good example of just, the arts and culture really bringing people together, so thank you. I also just want to thank you all because you really did include a lot of education throughout the show, so you made my job really easy. I learned a lot already. I hope everyone did. I'll ask one more question. If you had to do a mashup with another genre all together, what would you do and why? And if everyone could answer this, I think it'd be really fun.
You want to go first?
Beatles.
Beatles, okay. And why?
Why the Beatles?
Why is that question being asked? No, I think in every generation there is a generation bending musical event. See, 30, 40 years later, when you listen to Beatles, it just feels like it's part of us. But they were changing the world, and I want to go back and see that, become part of that. And their songwriting is just divine.
I would actually like to collaborate with Brazilian music because the rhythms and the grooves that they have, it takes me back to the folk music mountains of India. And I don't know how the push and pull happens so far away in such faraway continents, but there is so much desire to collaborate and love and know them. I want to know that music. So my would be Brazilian.
One of the traditional styles of Hindustani classical music is called khayal. And khayal means imagination, means free thinking, sort of brainstorming. And the great singers of Indian music, it's not that they create something that's perfect. They just point to something, and you see their imagination in it, and it's divine. And it's like the great jazz musicians, right? They just point to something, and it's almost like an exploration that almost has nothing to do with the song sometimes, but you follow their mind, and they hint at something. So I think there's an Indian classical plus jazz exploration that should happen in a very deep way.
Catherine's going to sit with us in the next show.
Oh, there you go.
And then I'm going to retire.
I've been wanting to do a fusion for a long time. So what's interesting about this period, so I'm very interested in the Egyptian period, especially between the 1940s and the 1960s, when they had this really rich film tradition. And actually starting in the 1930s, there was Latin fusion in Egypt. Wow. So they were listening to samba, they were listening to Cuban music, they were listening to tango, and there are a number of compositions from the 1930s and 1940s in Egypt that they had like, whatever, they had a few Latin percussionists and Latin musicians in Egypt that actually played in. So there are some recordings, I actually put one on the Spotify playlist. It was playing a little earlier where we had a little bit of rumba in it, and it's from like the 1940s. So I've been kind of wanting to do one of these days a fusion project with some Latin musicians, some Cuban musicians, and recreate some of those already composed fusion pieces from Egypt from that mid-20th century period.
That's great, thank you. So just want to thank you again. Check out our website for next shows. Do any of you have upcoming shows you'd like to plug, talk about now?
You guys are doing a show at Joe's Pub this Wednesday, and didn't you just invite me to play with you?
Yeah, so Sammy is going to join us in our upcoming show this Wednesday at Joe's Pub. We play at 9:30, and we are going to do a traditional Indian set, but Sammy always brings his influence, so obviously. If you want to come, we'd love to see you there. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, everyone. Get home safe.
Yes.
Called a harmonium. No, it's a harmonium.
They bring me in whenever Shoma can't make it. Oh, that's show. I'm the number two for Shoma. It's fine.